can an AI really do your job? I mean, it's the question we're all thinking about, right? Well, today we're going to dive into some incredible new research that finally puts that question to the ultimate test. We've all had that little flicker of a thought. Could a machine actually do my job? But here's the thing. Asking the question is the easy part. The real challenge? How in the world do you even measure something like that? How do you test an AI on complex, messy, real-world work? And that is exactly what this new paper is all about. Researchers have built this incredible new benchmark. It's called GDPval. Now, you can think of it like a standardized test for AI, but forget about abstract puzzles. The questions here are actual, economically valuable tasks that come directly from top professionals in their fields. This right here is how we can finally start to see what AI is truly capable of. Okay, so you might be thinking, why do we even need a new test? Great question. Let's dig into why the old ways of measuring tech they just don't work for this new wave of AI. So to really get this, you have to think about two ways of looking at things. Most of the time, we measure a new technology's impact by looking in the rearview mirror, right? We look at things like adoption rates or GDP growth. These are called lagging indicators. They tell us what's already happened. But to see what's coming down the road, we need a leading indicator. We need a way to measure what AI can do, like right now, today. And you know what? History backs this up completely. Think about electricity or the computer. These huge game-changing technologies took decades to actually show up in the big economic numbers. With AI moving this fast, we just can't afford to wait that long. We absolutely need a way to look ahead. And this really gets to the heart of it. Most AI tests we've had so far, they're kind of like a trivia night. Fun, sure, but they're testing for specific facts in a super controlled environment. GDPval, though, that's like a real-world, high-stakes job interview. It's the practical skills test that throws all the messy, complicated, real stuff at you that you'd actually face in a modern knowledge job. Okay, so how on earth did they build this thing? Let's pop the hood and take a look at how this benchmark was actually put together. Seriously, the way they did this is just so smart and rigorous. First, they didn't just pick random jobs. They zeroed in on the biggest parts of the economy. We're talking 9 sectors that make up most of the US GDP. Then, they found the top digital knowledge jobs in those areas. And here's the crucial part. They went out and recruited real-deal, seasoned pros, people with, on average, 14 years of experience from places like Google, Disney, and JP Chase, and they had them create tasks based on what they actually do every single day. So let's be clear, this is not a simple question and answer test. We are talking about really complex, long horizon tasks, the kind of stuff that takes a human expert around 7 hours to finish. They involve using real software, spreadsheets, slide decks, even CAD files. And get this, they're not just graded on, is the answer right? They're graded on subjective things like style, structure, and aesthetics. Just like your boss would grade your work in a real job. All right, and now for the main event, the moment we've all been waiting for. What happened when the most advanced AIs on the planet went head-to-head with these top-tier human experts? Okay, the results are honestly pretty startling. The top-performing model, Claude Opus 4.1, created work that was judged to be as good as, or even better than, a human expert's almost 48% of the time. Just let that sink in for a second. These AI models are already knocking on the door of producing the same quality of work as people who are at the absolute top of their game. But, it's not quite that simple. Just like with people, different AIs have their own unique strengths. So, for example, Claude Opus 4.1 was a total rock star when it came to aesthetics, making gorgeous slide decks and perfectly formatted documents. Meanwhile, GPT-5 really shined when it came to pure accuracy, following instructions perfectly and nailing all the calculations. So, where did the AI stumble? What was their weak spot? Well, the number one reason they lost out to the human experts was failing to follow instructions completely. It's fascinating, right? They just miss a step, or ignore one of the rules, or just not quite get a nuance in the request. It's kind of a very human-like mistake, ironically, but that seems to be the main hurdle they still need to clear. Okay, so the takeaway here is that AI isn't perfect, but it's getting shockingly close. So what does this actually mean for business and the economy? Let's talk about the dollars and cents, the real economic potential. So to really wrap our heads around the economic side of things, let's establish a baseline. For one of these complex tasks, it takes our human expert, on average, about 7 hours to complete. And if you translate that time into money based on median wages for these kinds of jobs, you're looking at a cost of around $361. Okay, but here is the absolute kicker. When you have that same human expert use an AI to do the first draft and then they just come in to review and polish it, the whole process becomes 1.63 times more cost effective. This isn't about AI replacing people. It's about a huge, massive potential for a productivity boost when humans and AI work together.
All right, let's zoom out. What does this all mean? What are the big key takeaways for the future of work?
Well, first off, this whole GDPval project is a massive deal. It's given us this incredible new set of real-world tasks, a solid benchmark to measure AI quality against actual experts, and, maybe most importantly, it's open source. That means other researchers can jump in and build on this, helping us track AI's progress even faster.
So if there's one thing you take away from all this, it should be this. AI is not a toy anymore. It is getting seriously good at doing complex, valuable, real-world work. But the magic ingredient here isn't just the AI. It's the combination. It's that powerful mix of AI doing the heavy lifting and a skilled human providing the oversight and the finishing touches. That's where the real power is. And that leaves us with one last, really important question. This research suggests that AI's performance is getting better pretty steadily over time. So now that we finally have a yardstick like GDPval to measure it, the question isn't really if AI can do parts of your job anymore. The real question is, how fast is it learning to do your job better?